Here are 7 steps to lose weight as a man above the age of 40. Step number 1 when it comes to losing weight as a man above the age of 40 is lifting weights. Now you might be like, Ali, why do I not do cardio? I heard cardio is really good for calorie burn. The purpose of lifting weights is to boost your metabolism, boost your testosterone, build muscle on your body that you're losing consistently after the age of 30 unless you're doing something to prevent it. Let me just ask you this. Do you want to burn more calories with the 3 or 4 hours you spend per week in the gym? Or do you want to burn more calories throughout the entire week? Because when you build muscle, muscle burns more calories at rest. So me standing here talking to you, if I have 10 pounds more muscle on my body, I'm going to burn more calories just by doing that. Okay, Ali, how do I start lifting weights? Well, the big thing I want to get across is stop training like a 20-year-old. Stop eating like a 20-year-old. Stop living like a 20-year-old. We cannot just go to a gym above the age of 40 and keep training with heavy weights all the way close to failure with bad form and expect not to hurt ourselves or make any sort of progress. You don't need a lot of days in the gym. You don't need to be a bodybuilder. You don't need to make fitness your entire life. What you need is about 3 to 4 days per week in the gym lifting weights. You need about 45 to 60-minute workouts per day in the gym. When you're in the gym, you need to prioritize your compound movements. So there's compound movements that use a lot of muscles at one time, like a chest press, shoulder press, squats, and lunges. These give you a really big bang for your buck. Or you could spend all your time in the gym doing isolation exercises like a bicep curl that just trains your bicep, and a tricep extension that just trains your tricep, and a lateral raise that just trains the side of your shoulder. You see how that isn't really using our time effectively? Compound movements like a chest press, it uses my chest, it uses my shoulder, and it uses my triceps all at the same time. Again, stop training like a 20-year-old. Prioritize form, prioritize control, prioritize full range of motion. And if you're a little bit older and you think this is going to be really bad on your joints are achy, stiff, understand that strength training strengthens everything. It's not just your muscles, but your bones, your joints, your tendons, your ligaments, everything gets strengthened. This is actually really good for your joints as long as you're prioritizing full range of motion. Meaning if I'm doing a bicep curl, I'm not one of these idiots in the gym just half repping bicep curls. I'm going all the way up and I'm going all the way down. There's a lot of YouTube videos you can look up about learning good form, or you can decide to work with me. I do online coaching. Check the link in the description. So again, form, control, and then making sure you're getting stronger from week to week. That's the main reason we're in the gym. You want to make sure you're tracking your workouts, and you want to make sure, hey, if I did chest press for 25 pounds for 10 reps this week, next week I'm going to try to beat that by adding a little bit more weight or a little bit more reps. All right, step number 2 to lose weight as a man after 40 is a calorie deficit. This has to do with your diet, and all this means is to eat less calories than you burn. So you might burn 1,500 calories per day, 2,000 calories per day, 2,500 calories per day, however much calories you burn, as long as you eat less calories than that amount, you will start to lose weight. Now, how do we actually figure out these numbers? Well, there's 2 ways to go about it. Number 1 thing you could do is track your food. So you might have heard about this before, but people get a food scale just as this one, and they start weighing out pretty much everything that they eat. If you want to go out to eat, you just take your best guess, and you can search up on this application right here. Whether you have an Apple phone, a Samsung phone, or Google phone, you can look up MyFitnessPal on the App Store. Go ahead, download that. That has a bunch of different food entries, and what you do is pretty much give me an example. If I have Greek yogurt, I'm gonna put my Greek yogurt on the scale, or I'm gonna put my bowl down. I'm gonna take out the Greek yogurt, put it into my bowl, and then I'm gonna see how much Greek yogurt comes out to, maybe 300 grams. And then I'm gonna take that amount and I'm gonna enter it into this app right here, MyFitnessPal. I'm gonna do that for all my foods throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, this application right here is gonna tell me exactly how many calories I ate that day, how much protein, how much carbs, how much fat. So you would need a food scale and this application called MyFitnessPal. It's a little bit hard to set up. I might make a video later on. You can figure it out. It's just a hard habit to start, but once you do it, this is a very accurate way of finding out exactly how many calories your body eats in a daily basis. And once you start tracking your weight, you'll see, hey, I'm actually gaining weight, losing weight, or maintaining my weight. And then you can decide to eat less calories, eat more calories, whatever you need to do. Now, that might be a hard habit to start. This is something I do every single day and something I help my clients out with because we want the most accurate results. However, if you're just starting off and you just want to get started in the right direction with weight loss, you can do intuitive eating. And this is just using your eyes and senses as a measure of, am I eating the right foods? So you're going to use your hunger as a cue. You want to make sure you're a little bit hungry throughout the day. So if I'm eating until 10 out of 10 full, that means I'm eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and maybe a snack, and I'm making sure I'm eating until fullness. And what that's going to do is pretty much maintain the body weight that I have. If I eat past fullness, obviously I'm going to gain some weight. If I eat before fullness, I might lose some weight. So as long as you're a little bit hungry throughout the day, this is going to be a good sign of, hey, I'm actually losing weight, along with tracking your body weight on the scale on a consistent basis. Now, what foods do you actually eat? You want to prioritize your protein, your fruits, and your veggies, because protein is going to help you burn fat, build muscle, boost your metabolism, and fruits and veggies are going to keep you really full throughout the day. So I would say take out your fist. However big your fist is, you want 2 fist-sized portions of protein and fruits and veggies at every single meal. So it's not 4 fist-sized portions of fruits and veggies, it's 2 total. So you can have 1 fist size of fruits, 1 fist size of veggies, 2 fist-sized portions of protein. And that should help you get started in the right direction. Step number 3 to lose weight after the age of 40 is your protein intake. Now, how much protein do you need to eat per day? Well, the general recommendations, according to current science, say about 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. 0.73, I decided to round up a little bit because the older you are, the more protein you're going to need. So anything between this range is going to be a great spot to be at. So if you weigh 200 pounds, I'm going to multiply 200 by 0.8, and I'm going to get 160 grams of protein. And I'm going to multiply 200 times 1 gram of protein, and I'm going to get, obviously, 200 grams. So anything between this range, as long as you eat that amount throughout the entire day, you're going to be in a really good spot to build muscle, burn fat, and boost your metabolism. Now, given that you are a little bit older, like I mentioned, it is a little bit harder to build muscle. Now, if you're just getting into weightlifting and eating healthier and starting off with protein, 160 grams is a good number to shoot for a 200-pound person. Like, this lower end is still a good starting point. However, as you progress throughout lifting weights and eating healthier and things become a little bit easier, you want to go towards this higher end just to make sure you're doing everything that you can to build muscle efficiently. Now, if you were 20 years old, all you probably would have to do is eat a little bit healthier, eat a little bit more protein, lift weights, and you make a lot of progress. However, once you get these into account and you're consistent with the small steps, you also want to take into consideration that, hey, maybe I shouldn't just eat all my protein at dinner. I want to spread it evenly across about 3 to 4 meals. Now, understand that this is not as important as your total daily protein intake. If you can't stay consistent with your total daily protein intake, don't even worry about the next step. This is just making we have our best foot in the right direction. Get consistent with this first. Once you want to spread that 200 grams evenly across 3 to 4 meals. So if you're having a breakfast, lunch, dinner, then 200 grams divided by 3 meals, it's going to be about 66 grams, more about like 60 to 70 grams of protein per meal. Now, where do you get your protein from? Well, the best sources are going to be meat, like chicken breast, ground turkey, ground beef, steak, fish, dairy, like yogurt. Greek yogurt is going to be really good. You don't want that Yoplait colored bullshit. You want yogurt, you want cheese, you want milk. These are really good as well. Eggs, egg whites are a great source of protein. And then as well as the legumes like beans, peas, and lentils. If you're struggling to hit this 200 gram protein number, you can also use protein bars, you can use protein shakes, you can use protein powder that you can mix into a whole lot of things. Step number 4 to lose weight as a man over the age of 40 is to walk more. We're not going to worry about any intense cardio right now. You use intense cardio for improving your heart health, for improving your stamina, your endurance, and a bunch of other things. Intense cardio does not have to be for fat loss, and usually I don't recommend it. I recommend walking more. This is a low stress activity. It's very low impact on your joints. It helps you relieve stress. It does a lot of great things. Now, how much do you walk? About 7,000 to 10,000 steps per day. How do you actually track that number? Well, your phone does track it. You can find a way to look it up on Google, and it actually does track it, but the thing is we don't always have our phone on us. You get a lot of steps just walking around throughout the day. So if you leave your phone on your desk, you go to check the mail, you go to check activities, you leave it charging, you might not get an accurate thing. So I like these smartwatches from Amazon. This is about $50, Amazfit, AMAZ Fit. You type that up, you'll get this one right here. It has really good reviews. You can also get a pedometer that just clips onto your pants. It's about $20. You want to get about 7,000 to 10,000 steps per day. Now, let's say you don't have any of these things yet. How do you make up for that? Well, just understand that the average sedentary person, when they come into my program, I take a look at their steps they've been getting, and it's usually about 3,000 steps. So that means we need to get about 4,000 to 7,000 more steps throughout the day if you are that sedentary person. 1,000 steps takes about 10 minutes of walking. This is not fast walking. It's not super slow. It is intentional walking to get some steps in. Okay, 1,000 steps takes about 10 minutes. Now, how do you get more steps in throughout the day? Well, you don't want to have a big chunk of 10,000 steps in one sitting. That might be a little bit overwhelming to get. But you do divide it up a little bit throughout the day. You know, you wake up, let's go for a morning walk. Could be 10 minutes, could be 20 minutes, could be 30 minutes as you're drinking your coffee. For me, it really helps relieve my stress and really get ready for the day. So a little morning walk, an evening walk after dinner, going with your wife or your kids. You want to go play, make it a social thing. During your lunch break, a lot of us just sit down during our lunch break, eat our lunch, scroll through our phones. Why not eat your lunch a little bit quickly and then maybe scroll your phone as you're going for a walk? Step number 5 to lose weight as a man over the age of 40 is to get more sleep. And not only to get more sleep, but more quality sleep as well. So sleep about 7 to 9 hours per night. Most men over the age of 40 that come into the program and take a look at their sleep, they're sleeping about 5.5 to 6.5 hours per night. And we definitely want to do a better job of getting this up. Sleep is going to help you feel better throughout the day. It's going to give you more energy. It's going to improve your testosterone. It's going to improve your metabolism. It's going to help you recover from your workouts a little bit better. It's going to help you build muscle. It's going to help you burn fat. Not only that, it's also going to help you with your cravings. A bad night of sleep, you don't have a lot of energy, and what's the quickest form of energy? It's sugar. We're going to go to sugar to try and get our energy throughout the day. We're going to be a little bit more cranky, a little more stressed out, so we're not likely to actually do the workouts and eat the healthy foods in the first place. So how do you actually get better sleep besides the quantity of sleep that I'm recommending? Well, you want to make sure your environment is dark, quiet, and cool. If I live in a house, I'm going to make sure all the blinds are shut, all the curtains are over, all the lights are dim. Even about an hour before bed, I'm going to start turning the lights down, okay? I'm going to make sure the environment is as quiet as possible. If you don't live in a quiet environment, then maybe some earplugs can help out a whole bunch. And you want to make sure the environment is cool as well. Usually if it's too hot, we can't really fall asleep. So I like to take a warm shower before I go to bed, but I usually do have the AC on. You might want to put a fan on, open the windows, etc. You also want to wind down about an hour before bed. So if you have a stressful job, you really just want to wind down from everything. No Netflix, no screens, no phones. Read a boring book, go for a walk, get some more steps in, which is what I usually do. De-stress from the day, and I just ask myself, hey, today was a little bit stressful. What do I need to process from today? What do I need to get ready for tomorrow? What am I proud of today? What did I accomplish? And just kind of get into that peaceful spot for myself to help myself go to bed. What really helps out here is some deep breathing as you're going for a walk. Deep breath in, and then a slow exhale. What that does is it activates your parasympathetic nervous system. If you feel like you're super stressed out all the time, doing that little breathing technique will help your body go into a much more relaxed state. You want to cut off caffeine 8 to 10 hours before bed. You could do all this, but if you're drinking caffeine, drinking alcohol, smoking nicotine, these things are all stimulants that keep you very awake throughout the day. And you want to make sure you cut off caffeine about 8 to 10 hours before bed. If you're going to sleep at 9, you want to make sure you're cutting off your caffeine at around 11 or 12 o'clock, latest 1 p.m. This is because caffeine has a half-life of about 5 hours. So if you drink 400 milligrams of caffeine at, let's say, 11 a.m., then at 4 p.m., there is still 200 milligrams of caffeine left. At 9 p.m., there is still 100 milligrams of caffeine left in your bloodstream. So you want to do a better job of cutting that off. Step number 6 to lose weight as a man above the age of 40 is to manage your stress. Understand that you have a lot of responsibilities. You have a wife, you might have kids, you might have a career, and you might be in a managerial or supervisory position. You got a lot of stuff going on. You're getting older. Your parents are probably getting older. You might have to take care of them. There's a lot of stuff going on, man. You want to make sure you're managing your stress. And why stress is important is not only from the hormonal aspect of it, like cortisol, it's not really good for your metabolism. It's not really good for your testosterone, having too much of it. So you really want to put your best foot forward there. And then also you have to think about the activities that we do when we are super stressed out. If you are overweight, you probably don't have the best stress eating habits, right? When we're stressed out, when I used to be overweight, I would always go to food, I would skip my workouts, I would be lazy, I would watch a lot of Netflix, and this doesn't help out with your weight loss goals. So, you know what can help you out when you're stressed, okay? For me, it's going for a walk. I don't do meditation. I don't do prayer. I go for a walk first thing in the morning. I do not go on my phone first thing in the morning. I do not check in with the world. I do not check Facebook. I do not check YouTube. I do not check the news because I know however I start my day is how I'm going to carry myself throughout the day. First thing I do, go for a walk. I listen to this motivational kind of mindset. It's by Joe Dispenza. It just helps wire my brain in the morning and helps me really start my day off in a positive, grateful mood for about the first 15 to 30 minutes. So I'm not stressed out throughout the rest of the day. And I always go for a walk before bed. These things really help me out a whole bunch on top of living a healthy lifestyle, touching with my family and friends on a consistent basis. How are you guys doing, etc. So you know what's going to help you out. Meditation, prayer, walk, friends, family. Could be a spa day. Could be hanging out with your kids. Could be going to a pool. Could be playing basketball and football like you did in the good old days, right? So whatever your thing is, you want to make sure you're managing your stress. And step number 7, the last step to lose weight as a man over 40 is to track your progress. If you do not track your progress, you have no way if you're losing weight, if you're losing body fat, if you're losing muscle, if you're heading in the right direction, what you need to change, what you need to adjust. Data is the most important thing because based off data, we can make intelligent decisions. Imagine if you went to your accountant and told them, hey, I want you to file my taxes for me. And the accountant asked for your W-2, your 1099, all your tax forms, how much income you had this year, how much expenses you had. And you told the person, oh, I don't know any numbers. They would look at you kind of like you're stupid. They'd be like, how do you want me to do your taxes if I don't have any numbers? Same way, you got to look at your actual weight loss, your muscle gain, and your health. You want to make sure you got the right numbers. And this might seem a little bit overwhelming in the beginning, but understand it's pretty simple once you get used to it, okay? Calories, you want to make sure you're tracking your calories, okay? How many calories are you eating on a daily basis? Like I mentioned before, if you don't want to start off with this, if you just want to do intuitive eating based off your hunger, you could do that. But once you guys started into group things or you're plateauing, then you want to make sure you're tracking your calories by downloading MyFitnessPal, the app, and then also having a food scale. How much calories do you need to eat? MyFitnessPal can help you out with that. I'll make a separate video in the future. It's just going to take a little bit of time, okay? Protein, how much protein should you eat? 0.8 to 1 gram protein per pound of body weight. You want to make sure you're hitting that amount of protein on a daily basis. That's going to help you build muscle, burn fat, and boost your metabolism. You want to make sure you're tracking your strength in the gym. A lot of times people just go into the gym, just lift weights over and over again, and they're not actually getting stronger and progressing from week to week, which is what we want. So in your little notes app on a Google Sheets, or if you're my clients, you have an application that makes it super easy for you, then you could just log in your weight and your reps. I did a shoulder press. I did it for 20 pounds for 10 reps. In my second set, I did 20 pounds for 12 reps. In my third set, I did 20 pounds for 11 reps. Each week when you come to the gym, you want to do a little bit more weight or a little bit more reps than you did last time. Tracking your step count. How much steps did I get on average throughout the week every single day? My average right now is about 11,000 throughout the entire week. But again, you just want to set a small amount that you can stick to on a daily basis. And really, it doesn't matter how much you get per day. It matters what your daily average is throughout the week. So you might have a high day, might have a low day, but let's get your weekly average to 7,000 to start off with and start working your way up to 10,000. And then the last thing you want to track is your actual body weight, because if you just step on the scale every now and then, it's going to give you a bunch of different numbers and it might discourage you. And that's not your actual weight. I really want to get that point across. When you step on the scale Friday afternoon, that is not how much you actually weigh, and that is not an accurate measure of progress for your weight loss journey. What you want to do is track your morning weight as soon as you wake up. When you're fasted, you're dehydrated, you haven't ate anything or drank anything yet, it is your actual leanest weight where you're at. You want to track that on your little notes app, on a tracker, Google Sheets, Excel spreadsheet, whatever you want to do. And you're going to compare weekly averages of weight loss. You're going to compare trends over time. Because I could be doing everything right with my diet plan, with my exercise plan, but if I'm not tracking my morning weight on a consistent basis, and I just step on the scale every now and then, it's not going to give me an accurate measure of progress. So in conclusion, to wrap everything up, what are the 7 steps to lose weight as a man over the age of 40? Well, you want to make sure you're lifting weights. You want to make sure you're eating less calories than you burn. You want to make sure you're eating more protein than you are right now. You want to walk more. You want to sleep more. You want to stress less. And you want to track your progress. Just to make it super simple for you, if you take any one of these 7 steps, you are taking a step in the right direction. I know as a man over 40 who's been kind of slacking on his fitness a little bit lately, or maybe throughout the past 5 or 10 years, this can get a little bit overwhelming. This is what my clients mention, and that's why they come to me, because they just want a step-by-step process. But if you're watching this video and you just want to take a step in the right direction, don't try to do all 7 at once, okay? Just start with more protein. You can do that today. You can look at your next meal and say, hey, am I having chicken, turkey, beef, eggs, egg whites, some sort of dairy with this meal? Let me just double the portion size of that, and that is you taking a step in the right direction. You're not going to lose weight overnight. It didn't take you 30 days to gain the weight. It took years, right? This is not an overnight process. It's going to take a little bit of time, but as long as you keep taking steps in the right direction, you can lose weight, you can build muscle, you can feel a lot better about yourself. It's just about the tiny steps, okay?